Hello, I'm Mark Henderson, and today I have the pleasure of introducing some of the work produced by our local writers in Chapel-en-le-Frith. Now, Chapel-en-le-Frith is a small town in North Derbyshire. It's known as the capital of the Peak, and it's home to a wealth of creative talent. Chapel Arts is an umbrella organisation covering a range of activities, visual arts and crafts, an annual painting and photography show, a film club, various performance arts, and our writing group. The writing group's been active for about 6 years, and I've had the privilege of serving as tutor for the past 3. Last year, we published a booklet of our work, Chasing Shadows, and donated some of the profits to our local hospice. Recently, we've put together some material for the 2020 Buxton Fringe. The performance is being presented online instead of live because of the coronavirus pandemic. One of our members, Simone Hubbard, has used her newly acquired Zoom and YouTube skills to record a selection of our latest work. In one of our creative writing sessions a few months ago, we considered the difference between orally communicated stories, folk tales, and written ones, literary tales, and then had a go at inventing our own folk tales. We're recording one of these today, together with some of our poems celebrating, is that the right word? The COVID-19 lockdown, before, during, and what we hope will be after. We'll start with one of these, written and read by Stephanie Billen.
Home. I lie in a patch of sunlight and call it home. A melancholy missel thrush questions the silence. Shaking branches unfurl new leaves as spring inches forward outside my window. I feel rooted to the spot, solid as a rock. Nothing can happen to me right here, right now. The 4 walls of my body, my house, my country, my life are still standing tall round my fluttering soul. What must it be like to have to move, to break out of this pressure cooker cocoon, to embrace the dangerous flesh of loved ones, feel their briny breath mingle with mine, and next to walk with an army of strangers bedraggled and beleaguered and closing in, all those 6 feet gaps rushing to be filled, touching fingers anointing every surface. Will there be nobility in this risky exodus as we cross the raging seas of infection, refugees becoming refugees like so many before us, seeking a promised land in a world with no promises? For now, I fill my ears with disembodied voices, feel the warmth of my friends as the shadows lengthen. I lie to myself in the patch of sunlight I call home. I will make it all right in a poem.
Yes. Simone, I think you have a poem too.
Hello, so I'm Simone, and my poem is called Coffee Time with Pippa. Docked at Stavanger, an early start. I draw back the curtains, scenery lacking on the quayside. It looks grey and chilly, but our spirits are not dampened. We're eager to explore. Our ferry leaves at 9. It's not waiting for the one who snoozes. So Heidel greets us with an explosion of colour, tranquility and clean air. We amble through the gardens in awe. Automatic mowers quietly snip the pristine green lawns. It's coffee time and we're the only customers, listening to the waves faintly lapping the shore. A bumblebee breaks the silence, busy in a purple delphinium. The sunshine peeps through the breaking cloud. This is morning coffee at its best. That was August 2019, when life was normal, when we could roam the world freely, unaware of a deadly virus lying in wait, unafraid of breathing and standing near people. The very thought of our lives now would be absurd. We can't share a coffee in a quaint cafe, or even in our own home. So we Zoom, connected visually via the internet, cafetières ready to plunge, top of the agenda, conversations about COVID-19, a new dictator to all mankind, ruling our lives, clipping our wings. I picture Soar Heidel today, the sun poking through the cloud, a pleasant 16 degrees, the air even cleaner, trees reflecting in the ponds, birds singing and bees buzzing freely between the profusion of colour, unaware that the visitors haven't come. I would love to go back to the fields, maybe next summer, seeking out a perfect coffee stop and basking in the peace and quiet. But then, wouldn't the tranquility be shattered just by us being there?
Thank you, Simone. It just goes to show how different voices can respond to the before, during and after lockdown in different ways, and we'll hear more of that later. Now, I have here one of our folk tales. This was written by Kate Briant, and I must read it rather than tell it because it is not my story. Kate wanted a male voice reading it. Not sure she's right, but I'm not going to argue with Kate. It is called The Pedler and His Wife. A pedlar called Samuel Nethercott came home after several weeks' journeying, his pack lighter and his money pouch heavier. He took bread and cheese from his pack and a wizened apple from the pantry. The room was cold. Perhaps it was time to take a wife. Well, it would be good to have hot meals waiting and a fire burning in the grate, he thought. But you would have to twice the expenses. Can I afford a wife? He slept on the question, but his longing for comfort won over his parsimony. So he surveyed the unwed women he met on his travels. In the end, he chose, courted, and married a sensible widow with good teeth and a strong back, still young enough to be biddable. She was a pleasant enough wife, quiet and dutiful. 2 months after the wedding, he set off journeying again. Watch yourself, woman, Samuel told her. Don't invite anyone into the house or visit any other. When he returned several weeks later, he noticed a subtle change. She seemed cheerful, and he heard her humming as she pegged a colourful rug. Samuel thought long and hard about her, and his suspicions grew. He left her on her own. Surely she'd been lonely and sad. Had she consoled herself with someone else? Was she cooking hot meals for another? Was she making a fool of him? The more he thought, the more convinced he became that she was betraying him. On his next journey, he sought out a wise woman. She handed him a small copper dish. It's a singing bowl, she told him. Place it in your home, and when your wife goes out, fill it with water. Run your wet finger round the rim and say, Singing bowl, I say to thee, is my woman true to me? The bowl will answer your question. The wise woman held out her hand for payment. Samuel hesitated. It was a lot of money. But he needed to know, so he counted 3 precious silver shillings into her palm. When he got home, he placed the little bowl on a shelf. When his wife went to milk the cow, he tipped water into the bowl, ran his moistened finger round the rim, and recited, Singing bowl, I say to thee, is my woman true to me? There was a silvery tinkling sound as the bowl sang back to him, Pedlar, I say to thee, thy wife is true as true can be. Samuel was satisfied and put his dark thoughts aside. He ate his hot dinner and warmed his feet by the fire. Soon it was time to set out on another journey. One night he stayed at an inn, where a serving wench quenched more than his thirst. He made his usual rounds of farms and village markets, selling and bartering. But on his way home, he stopped again at the inn to reacquaint himself with the serving wench. He found his wife in good spirits, and his dark thoughts returned. When she went out to fetch water from the well, he reached down the little copper bowl and water jug. Singing bowl, I say to thee, is my woman true to me? Again the bowl sang back to him with its silvery tinkling sound. Pedler, I say to thee, thy wife is true as true can be. Then the door opened and his wife entered. Who was that singing? She asked. No one, wife. I was whistling. His wife gave him a strange look, but said nothing and went to prepare dinner. Samuel wanted to return to the inn. Wife, the markets will be thronged with people, he said. I must be on my way again. Once he had gone, his wife reached down the little copper bowl. She had seen him with it. She had heard what he'd asked and what the bowl had answered. She filled it with water and ran her wet finger round the rim. Singing bowl, I say to thee, is my husband true to me? The bowl sang back with its silvery tinkling voice. Pedler's wife, I say to thee, thy husband's false as false can be. She was sad, for she'd enjoyed having a husband and a home of her own to care for again. As she went about her chores, she pondered. Samuel returned several weeks later. She noted the spring in his step. Welcome home, husband, she said, and placed a dish of beef stew before him. He greedily spooned down the rich goodness. Weakness struck him before he had finished eating. Oh, I must go to bed, wife. I'm ill. Samuel staggered away from the table and collapsed onto the pretty pegged rug. He was dead within minutes. His wife waited for darkness to fall, then emptied his pack and laid it on his body. Then, when the moon rose, she dragged the rug with its burden out of the house and along to a deep old mine shaft. It's a good thing I'm strong, she thought, as she pushed body and pack into the gaping black hole. And it's a good thing he bolted down his dinner so fast he couldn't taste the hemlock. There. Kate's Folktale, The Pedler and His Wife. Okay, thank you. Now, more lockdown poems. The next one, Caroline Hardwick. Caroline.
My lockdown poem, Forcalquier. Warm spring scents, newly born. Now a gentle zephyr, we rode the storm. His muscles relaxed, I felt, behold, our minds adrift on hills of gold, stippled argent, speckled green, lavender scents, now washed and clean. The pigeon tower met the sunset sky, our clothes laid out in front to dry. Now it's Sunday every day, the town deserted, none come to stay. No childish shrieks, no ring of bell, they pray at home to keep all well. One lone white tent set in the trees, a campsite empty, help them please, to keep things safe for everyone until this tragic time is done. The motorbike is dirty, we are tired, the long journey done, our senses fired, with the sense so long anticipated, the shock of people congregated about the church, it's them we see, a sign of how things used to be. Long peals of bells bless the air for a wedding in Forcalquier Square.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's something to look forward to, isn't it? Thanks very much, Caroline. And finally, for today, back to Stef Billen. Stef, you have another poem for us, I think.
Le Jardin, Exotique. Locked in time against a backdrop of blue, this long-limbed lady is just like you. Head to one side with twisted up hair, her alabaster face a quizzical stare. She rises above the cacti towers, facing the sea over sun-baked hours. Her dusty ground is now unmoved, the air unbreathed is strangely soothed, while you behind your silver screen are almost here, yet still unseen. I'd like to climb that hill with you and selfie us against that view. Or is it best to leave it there, a place where we without a care could sketch and stroll and sweetly wander, while you grew tanned and ever blonder? Let's share the sofa, stay at home. Together, there's no need to roam.
Ah, that's a very positive view on it. Stef, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining in and sharing your work with all of us, and I hope with many viewers. Enough from me.